Hi everybody, just going to do the video that I said I would in the first place. It's all about Ettington Hotel. Well, it was Ettington Hotel when I was there, which would have been probably 1964, something around about that time. You'll get an idea of the time limit in a minute when I tell you something. Anyway, I left school. I was living in at school, and I wanted to go into catering, so they got me a job, and it happened to be there. So I left school, went straight into there, and massive, great big house. All I remember is, just like the books, this long winding road going all the way down through this grass, which I'm assuming was fields. It looked like fields to me. And there was this big looming building, this big Gothic, old Gothic building. Just the look of it was enough to make you go, wow. Anyway, this is what it looked like. From the picture that it's a very Gothic looking building. Like I said, I went to work there. I think it must have been around about 1964, and in 1963 a film come out on the screens, which I'll just show you the pictures of those, and they're coming up now. Okay, so there was your two pictures. Excuse me. Same film, I believe. In the UK it was called The Haunting. In America I think it was called The Haunting of Hill House. I might be wrong. You might be able to put me right on that, but I'm sure it's the same film. And what's the two connections of what I'm going to talk about in those films? Well, the fact that that's the house that was filmed for that film. The outside was used, I believe, some of the bit of a legend or whatever of the place was probably added in there as well. I'm not sure how much, if any. Excuse, I got itchy face and eyes. I'm not sure how much, if any, of the inside of the building was used, but it was definitely very Gothic-y inside. So I'll show you one or two pictures as we go along, and I'll just talk a little bit about my experience when I was there. And really it started as I was going up the road, this winding road. You could see the building, and I was getting a bit of a vibe then. I was 16. I was new to feelings and everything, so I didn't really understand what I was feeling at the time, but I knew I was feeling something. And then as I arrived at the door, really just walking over the door was the opening of it, really. That's when the feelings really kicked in, and they really hung around for 24/7 until the very last day when I was there, and I stepped back out to go back to where my family lived and start a different life. So let me see, when you went in the building, it was hotelish. The foyer was like going into a big old house. wasn't particularly like, I would say, going into an hotel foyer of today. It wasn't where the big desk was there and everything, but it was the hotel foyer. A massive great stone fireplace just over on the left as you walked in, which you'll see a picture, well, you see a little bit of moving picture of it a little bit later, and when that comes up I'll give you a little bit of gen on that fireplace. And then straight in front of you as you was looking there, this massive great staircase that went up, and that was the main staircase, and that's where lots of paranormal activity and everything happens. You went round to the went round to the left there up the stairs. That was going to all the different rooms and where the patrons and such stayed. You went the bottom of the stairs, went round to the right, went into this really old little bar, all dark wood and everything, all very Gothic. And if you walked into the bar like that, there's a bar all the way along down that side, and chairs and tables and everything there. And then this side there was shelving, if I remember, with like books and everything. And so far down it, this, you could just open it up. It was a secret door. You opened it up like that, and it went into this massive great banquet hall. Again, you'll see some of those little bits a bit later. I couldn't find pictures of the library, because I think that's what it was. I think this bar was a library, so I couldn't find any pictures of that, of the bar, but there's pictures of the banquet hall. Anyway, that was downstairs. The staff quarters, totally different. Like I said, as you went in, you went off to the left as you went round there somewhere. Staff quarters were upstairs, and you more or less got to them from the back. And where the main part of the hotel was very welcoming in a way to you, the little visitor coming in that front door, where you were towards the back and going up to the servants' areas, you might say. It was more the old house and very plain and just normal. And I remember going up these not very wide stone stairs and everything to go up, and that was always there was always a feeling on those stairs. You could feel it as soon as you got there, and it was, I didn't know what it was at the time because I was young. It wasn't ominous, it wasn't threatening or anything, but it just wasn't a nice feeling. I didn't like it. So you also had that feeling when you went up to your room, which was, I think, rooms that were made into smaller rooms. It never quite felt like home. It didn't feel good. It was always sort of uneasy feeling. You wouldn't have really cared if you hadn't have been there. So wherever you went in that building, it didn't matter where you went, what time of day, what time of night, there was just this feeling 24/7. A little bit depressive, I'd imagine, but this feeling wherever you went. So really, when I was there, as to what I can remember, I never saw anything. Did I or didn't I? If I saw it, did I just not know I'd seen it? Because that's how it happens sometimes. People say, oh, I've never seen a spirit. Probably yes you have, you probably just walked straight past it. It's not like Hollywood. It's not these floating little things and all that sort. Sometimes they look just like anybody else. Anyway, so yeah, it was a pretty miserable feeling throughout this massive great building, and eventually I found that even going outside, that feeling would still be there. And this is a funny thing that happened. It was not long before Christmas. There'd been a big church out the side, and I believe most of it had fallen down and been deconstructed or something or other, but a side chapel was still there. And this is where the fireplace comes in as well. We'll go back to the fireplace. So yeah, you went in, there's this fireplace, and there's a massive great bit where the fire is, and then the mantelpiece, and above that 2 big panels, wood panels, elaborate wood panels. Well, if you went to those panels, you could actually open the panels up, but when you opened them up, there was like plywood or something there, so you couldn't actually get in. But what I found out was really that they were at one time open, and you could get in there, and you went down some steps, and the steps went down under the house, through the grounds, this tunnel or whatever, and this little chapel thing that I'm going to be talking about in a minute, just outside, underneath that there's a crypt with I believe 36 stone coffins in it. Now I don't know if that was family crypt or what, but this went down from behind the fireplace, under the building, to this crypt, through the crypt, down to the edge of the river, and there, as far as I know, what some of the students told me, they went to have a look down at the river. There is this opening, and it's all barred up now, so people can't get in and whatever. But yeah, what used to happen was, it was in the days when I believe it was the Roundheads and Cavaliers and all that sort of thing. If they were coming up towards the manor, I'm assuming probably Roundheads or whatever, and there was any Cavalier there, or whatever they were coming to find out if they were there, they would, down the back of the fireplace, down the steps, through the crypt, to the water's edge, where there'd be horses waiting for them and long gone by the time they come knocking on the door. So that was still there. Exciting stuff. So that was what the fireplace was about. Getting back to this little chapel outside. It's coming up to Christmas, and the manager says, you and you come with me, want to get that place ready because we have a little Christmas service out there. Yeah, fine. Went out, feeling goes with us, get to this little chapel. It's in my mind, 36 stone coffins down in a vault beneath this. Anyway, my friend goes in with the manager, brave as anything, It wasn't a massive great place like a side chapel, but it was a fair size. They went down the aisle up to the altar, taking bits off, candles and that, and he's grabbing them and all that sort of thing. I'm sort of hanging around near the door because the feeling in there, I did not like the feeling in there. That was worse than the house, I'm not kidding. That was flipping terrible. I didn't get away with it because eventually, oh, just stand there, come here and grab some of this stuff. Oh no. So I go walking up towards the altar to grab this stuff, and just this step that's going up, there's this long kneeler that people kneel on to pray in front of the altar and everything. Well, idiot, here I put my foot on it and it bends. Well, all I could sorry, all I was feeling was this feeling of going downwards. Sorry, it's flipping chronic looking back. Flipping, the fear of God went into me then. I thought I was going down into the flipping crypt of coffins. You wouldn't think I was Goth, would you? It wasn't funny at the time, those feelings just weren't flipping funny. Oh man, it was so bad. I remember the feeling to this day when I stood on that flipping kneeler. Oh, what a relief when I only went about 4 inches. Oh dear. Anyway, we got the stuff, went to take it out, and then my mate, the sod, went out the door, locked me in. But I survived. But yeah, that was that little chapel of rest or whatever it was outside there. Again, you'll see a picture later. There is an actual chapel within the building that's situated down a bit. There's a fair bit of paranormal activity happens around that sort of area of the building. Oh, sorry if I laugh because I'm not going to get over that flipping step. Oh, it wasn't funny at the time, I'm telling you. I wouldn't want to do that again at that age. Sorry. Oh, bloody hell. Pull yourself together. The strange thing is, eventually I did leave there, and I found out a lot about the building then, many years later actually. But like I said, coming up to Christmas, another funny thing that happened. Like I said, students came to work there. There was about, I think, 3 girls, 2 boys. I think it's 3 girls, 2 boys. Anyway, they knew the way to this flipping pub in the village. So we went through the dark, found this pub, and yeah, we sort of had a pint or something when we was in there, and we were sitting around chatting. Somebody had this bright idea of this game. First person would take a drag of the cigarette and then pass it to the next, like lips to the next one, and then the next one. I don't know what the point of that was, do you? Well, there you go. Anyway, we're there, just having a bit of a laugh. All of a sudden, in come the 2 other girls, and one of them is hysterical, just crying, hysterically crying. And we found out what it was all about. And apparently they were a bit later coming, so they went to come out the building, and as they were coming out, they saw the manager near the main entrance and thought, oh, flipping blow that, you know, he'll probably say, where you going? Go, no, get back in. It was like that in those days. So they decided to go out the back way. So going out the back way, you went through all the really old stables where they kept the horses and the the carriages and all that sort of thing. And they were going through there, and it was pretty dark and everything, and they decided to put a bit of a move on, so they did a little bit of a trot. And as far as we could make out, as they went round, there was a washing line, and they run into the washing line, and it hit one girl, and she went onto the floor. And when she looked up, there's this woman in old clothing comes walking across, just looks at her, and then turns and carries on. Well, that was the beginning of it. Hysterical crying and everything, and they probably did the 100-mile dash in 50 seconds to the pub. It took us ages. You could tell how bad it is. It took us ages to get this girl back to the hotel. She just did not want to go back to that hotel. It was just the fact that this woman just didn't look like a woman that was walking across. She was a bit ghostly looking, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. So we knew about this woman. So that's one experience that did happen. It wasn't till many years later, I was watching a programme that all about haunted places in the UK, and apparently this hotel happened to be one of the most haunted, and it talked about lots of different hauntings that was happening at the time, and one of them is the Grey Lady. And now we assume that was the Grey Lady. She actually come across the Grey Lady. And a lot of people, lots of guests had seen this Grey Lady. And one of the places she's most active, apparently, is the staircase. A lot of activity's been seen in that area. Lots of people that have stayed there have actually seen a lady walking. So yeah, that's really the story of it. It is just very, very active. If you want to go along, if you're in England or you visit in England, you want to go and stop there, be my guest. Mug. I'm not sure if I'd want to do it again. That I did not like that feeling. So little bits of film will come up, and you'll see one or two bits of the hotel, the banquet hall, the chapel, the staircase, the fireplace, the building itself. Mosey on there now. Just look at these one or two bits. The library. Many times visitors have noticed one book that falls to the ground, and every time it just opens at that one page. William Wordsworth. A merry place 'tis said in days of yore, but something ails it now, the place is cursed. And this is the great fireplace. There's the two panels above it. You open them from the centre outwards, and you could get in there, down onto the steps and away. Looking down now, the great staircase where a lot of activity is said to take place, and I must admit that is really a freaky, spooky area. One of the big Gothic seating areas where you could just sit and have a cup of coffee or something. And that's the big banquet hall that could be converted to a dance hall. And the chapel that is within the building, that's not the one outside. There you go, folks. Bit long, but that's Ettington Hotel. So if you'd like to go along there, spend a few days, a week, don't watch the film before you go.